Good morning. Welcome to the abandoned mining town of Cerro Gordo, where at the moment, there's no power, there's no way on or off the mountain, and things are getting a little cold. But the month hasn't always been like this. You know, earlier this month it was sunny. I did some mining for silver. We searched for tagged bats, did some building projects around the town, and a whole lot more. Winter is here. That is something that is very evident this month. You know, I had convinced myself that this year we were just gonna skate by and not have that bad a winter. But today marks the third day with no power up here in town, which also makes the third day where there's so much snow on the road that it's basically impossible to come and go. You know, 4 days ago, I cut my finger really bad with a drone, had to go to the urgent care, and getting back up here was all sorts of nightmares. All right, and this is it. This is as far as DWP decided to go, which is probably a smart call. It gets very steep here in a moment. So beyond here, we probably have still another, 2.5 to 3 miles to town. You can see the town is still in the clouds up there. It's gonna be hard going, so we'll see how much further we can make it. Come on, come on. All right, I am less than a mile from town. I tried to go up this way, wasn't working, turned around. Back on solid ground now, but if I could punch through so Edison then can get through and fix our power. Otherwise, I'm stuck here or going back down to Keeler and the town has no power. The best option seems to be out on this outer ridge. You know, I can at least get a little bit of dirt out here, but then I'm right by the side of a cliff, which if you start sliding, you know, the whole truck could just slide over. But we're looking at a pretty hard slog to town from here. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of scouting. I mean, maybe if I'm just gunning it along this side, I think the best approach might be to go fast along this side. Don't do any of the crossing over. That way, if I do get stuck, I have my path back down. I'm not going sideways. Stick on this side. I am sure a lot of you out there have better suggestions on how to do this, and you will let me know. But for right now, you're not here, so I gotta do what I can to get up to town. All right, this little bit is all deep. There's no great option. So before I do anything dumb, I try to find some low points. Nah, it's so deep right here. Not that side. How deep is it over here? It's so deep over here too, look at that. Yeah, there's no, I'm not getting to town. We're headed back. All right, I turn back around and I can easily just go down, but I'm not really the type to give up, as you may know, with Cerro Gordo and otherwise. And this final, like, let's say 200 yards, and then we're in the home clear, because there's no more inclines to go up. It's a straight grade, so that'll be easy to go over. It's just this final incline of 100 to 150 yards that's causing me some issues. Could depart, wait it out, but what am I gonna do down in Keeler? And here it is. This is enough perseverance. We've made it back to town. I gotta say, no matter how many times you've had days like this, they don't get any easier. All right, so here's what's going on. There's a lot of snow in town, not much to do above ground. There's no power in town. And because the road up is like how it is, the power company can't get to town to fix the power, whatever that would be. So the hope today is to clear the half-mile road so this truck can get up to the hoist and then kind of take it from there. You know, we don't have a snow plow or a snow cat to get around. It just wasn't in the financial cards this year. But we do have a snow blower and some help. And so on days when there's no power, there's a lot of snow, and there's more storms coming, it's just clearing roads. All right, up here at the hoist, and you can see the snow is very deep. And so the goal right now is to try to get this forward to the road, so that way we can maybe use the Ford as kind of like a battle ram or a plow to get some of the snow out of the way. But to do that is going to be a lot of work just to begin with. So the adventure continues. It's going to be a little bit longer, but I think we got to at least clear from here where it's at the 60 yards or so to the top of the road. and hope that gravity takes over from there and gets it down the road. But do what we can. We've got ourselves a road just wide enough for the truck. So now the hope is that the truck can get down here and we can start making our roads. So we're about to find out. Winter is here. I guess the question now is how long it's going to stay. Not a lot of progress happening with this deep of snow, so I'm going to head 900 feet underground where I've been building out a hotel suite of sorts. It's actually pretty good timing because I also have to record the audio book for the book that I'm putting together. So we're gonna go head down 900 feet into the mine shaft, continue building the room, and record an audio book. We're down here, 900 feet underground. We got internet, we got power. Those were months in the making, and now it's about to get fun. Now we are starting to build a house down here. I don't know what to call it, an apartment, a suite. A suite sounds the best. So we're about to build a suite. I see myself long-term just moving in down here, just spending months. My apartment at the 900 level. Imagine if I turned every level into an apartment. Just about unpacked down here at the 900. We got water, obviously. I have my book that I need to read in the next day or two. The microphone to do that. Get some end tables, chair, Keurig, because I need to get some tea to keep my kind of voice good when I'm reading the book. What else should I put down here? I am open to all ideas. It's gonna be many trips down here to fill this thing. And so if you had a 900 foot level mine, I mean, this mine's huge, miles of mines. What else should I put down here? Bowling alley. I mean, long term, this could just be amazing. All right, it's looking pretty clean in here after only a couple hours of work on the floor. I think now, before I bust out the bed and call it a day for night one, I need to get into the audio book. We will begin with chapter 1. Chapter 1, pick your spot and swing. It started as a relatively straightforward task. William Burroughs Schmidt, a prospector, was tired of bringing his gold ore around a mountain. Late start on the book, but we got 2 chapters down, and I'm gonna preserve my voice for the rest of the day. I'm gonna fold out the bed, make some dinner, and go to bed. So today, I need to continue recording. I need to do more recording than I do fixing up the place. I did a lot of fixing up yesterday. I got really excited about seeing the space transform, but today I need to do a lot more recording. And I think I'm gonna try to deaden the noise even more. So over here you can see what I'm working with. I'm gonna try to put up some blankets so that way it's a little bit deader of a sound. As I'm down at the 900, I think about this story that happened here in 1877. And that night there was 3 miners working down at the 900 foot level, and there was 10 more above them at the 700. And up in the hoist house, a huge fire broke out. You know, a bunch of buildings were consumed. And luckily one of the guys at the 700 foot level was by the main shaft. And he looked up, he saw the fire, and he was able to contact the guys down at the 900 foot level to, hey, come on up. So they went up to the 700 and they waited, waiting to see if the fire was gonna rush down the shaft and kill all of them or what was gonna happen. And up top, a guy named Porter sent a couple men down to the 190 foot level to build a platform. Put some timbers across, put some dirt on top of that to stop the fire from going any deeper in the mine, because at the 200 foot level, there's an exit to the outside. And in the end, the whole hoist house burned down, a bunch of buildings, 5 or 6 cabins, 300 cords of wood. But the shaft below the 200 foot level was saved, as were the 13 men below. And so this is just one of the many stories I think about as I'm kind of wandering through the shafts of the 900 level. So I think that the audiobook is complete. Book's coming out March 19th. So thank you guys so much if you check it out. I'm going to take this recorder back to a very special part of the mine and record a little bonus segment for anybody that orders it ahead of time. So if you order the book, email your receipt to the email address below. That same day you'll get sent this recording. So let's go find this spot and talk about it. So the other big point of creating this room down here was to have a base point to jump off and try to explore the 5 additional levels of the Union Mine. So for the longest time, it was thought that the mine stopped at the 900-foot level. Maybe there's a foot below it. But we found some maps a while back. There's actually 5 additional levels down below where I am right now. If we were able to get through, should theoretically lead to some additional miles of mine that were no one has explored, no one has really well documented, and it drops down to the 1290 level. So between 900 and 1290, there's a 390-foot drop. So you imagine there must be some type of machinery back there, whether it's an additional hoist system or whatever it is. There's a way that they're getting a lot of ore down from these bottom levels. All right, so this is it. This is an intersection actually. When we're digging around, this goes over that way to the left, then it goes over and then it curves around, and there's a winze that should go down to the lower 5 levels. And that would just be so cool to get to those lower levels. Again, thank you guys so much for all the support over the years. If you have the ability to, if you pre-order the audiobook, it would just mean the world to me. You know, pre-orders mean so much for books' success in the market. And so with that, if you do ahead of time, I'm going to record a little something special now, and then we're going to get right back into everything else going on around Cerro Gordo. All right, it's just about time for my first trip down here, staying, to end. The audiobook is done. There's some more cleaning up. What I want to do now is I'm going to take a 3D map of this area. I'm going to get some dimensions. I'm going to take some photos, and I'll put those below in the description. If you're out there and you're an interior designer, if you're an architect, if you're just somebody that wants to creatively think about a space, let me know. I'm going to put an email in there too, a different email, and hit me with some ideas, and maybe we'll bring some of these to life. Maybe some of you I could bring out here to help with the project if you want. But I think this is going to be a really cool space. And just like that, my first trip down to get the audiobook done is complete. So we're going to leave and go see what else is going on around Cerro Gordo this past month. We got a lot. There's a bat directly above me in this mine, and I've always been fascinated with them. You know, even before Cerro Gordo, I was into bats. I remember as a kid, I would doodle them in the margins of my notebook. Bats are very curious creatures, and I think they kind of get a bad rap. You know, at the moment that I started going in mines and seeing bats, people started saying, you know, every bat has rabies, you have to avoid it. Or, you know, bats suck blood, or bats are blind, and this and that. And most of those are myths. But this month I was very lucky because I had a visit from Dr. Mike Morrison, a retired professor of wildlife ecology that's been studying bats in the Owen Valley since 1991. Mike has tagged over 4,000 bats and is literally the bat expert, especially when it comes to bats in an abandoned mine.
Nice to meet you. Yeah.
Welcome
I've
up.
been watching all your YouTube videos.
Well, thank you. So Mike came to visit, and we dove into some of these myths as well as some more facts related to bats and bats in abandoned mines.
All right, we're ready.
This is so awesome. This is like a dream come true doing this. My dad would be jealous.
Yeah. All right, this is it.
Right here already. Let me turn this on.
All right. Awesome.
So this reads like this, and then I've got in my pocket, I've got a tag. These guys are always exposed like this. They won't go up into any cracks.
Mm-hmm.
They could be, like, one could be right like that.
Right.
But they won't go up into any cracks.
Okay.
So it's tagged.
Wow.
The first fucking one is tagged.
Wow.
Look at that. The first fucking one is tagged. So all I do now is keep track of how many we see.
Okay.
So
And is it saving each one that you see?
Yep, yep, it's saved. And before we turn this off and we go
Yeah.
back up, I'll write them down because I don't trust a computer.
Right. Once we were in the mines, Mike was quick to identify bats, even tagged ones. Were you part of tagging all the bats in this region? So like,
Every one of them.
So you've seen that bat before then?
Yes.
That's crazy.
And when I get home tonight, when I go through all this, I will
Know which one to go.
email you where everyone that's tagged came from.
Cool.
Between 25 and 30% of the bats I find in the winter are tagged.
Okay.
I won't be surprised if we only get a few tagged here, but that's fine. I mean, every one is
Yeah.
big news.
As we snaked through the shafts, we found a few in the stope right by the hoist.
2, 3, 4, be tagged. I don't think I have them if I can.
I mean, to hold on to this? Or
Well, it's not that. It's the.
like the telescoping?
No, what's going to happen is I didn't bring the.
Oh, the cable's
I
gonna
didn't think about that
Right.
far. Let me see something here.
Some were tucked away in hard to reach places, but Mike brought the right equipment for the job.
Nah, he's not tagged.
All right.
Tagged.
Oh, nice.
There you go. See,
Cool.
that's 15.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you lead the way.
Yeah, there you go.
How comfortable are you with scrambling places?
I'm fine.
Okay.
I scramble all the time.
So that hole up there leads over this collapse.
Where, right up here?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then over that is where all the bats that I saw were. The Jefferson chimney is just beyond this.
Okay. So you want to put the ladder up here and go up over that?
Yeah, it's just a little,
Yeah.
it's not more than a little, it's quite precarious.
That's fine.
All the gear okay?
Oh yeah, no, it just came off my hand.
Cool. Once we climbed over the collapse towards the Jefferson chimney, the bats really started to show up.
Tagged.
Nice.
17, 18, 19, 20.
There were clusters of bats all along the shaft, leading us to believe that the bats are probably entering the mine from the Jefferson chimney. Looking closer at them, I saw more of the beauty of the creatures, no matter my past experiences with them.
There we go. You see how the one's got his ear out?
Yeah.
See, that's what they normally look like. That's what that'd be a pair. So we've got 32 plus a pair. So did they come from this crack in the ground this way, or did they go this way?
I think that they found, because the crack went only the surface of the surface deposit,
Yeah.
and once they realized that, they started intersecting it below to let gravity do the work,
Gotcha.
and then mine up. And then this to your right is the Jefferson chimney, so it's going to be a pretty big opening. Wow. And so this ore deposit went from the surface, it went down 1,100 feet. Okay. This goes way up.
Holy. Oh, there's bat up there. You can probably reach that one. Hold it up as high as you can once I get over.
Okay.
I can hang it on that. I just don't like to.
Right.
44. You said 30 or 40. Well, we're at 44.
Yeah.
So you're pretty good.
Yeah.
This is fact, not brag. I've been told by bat biologists this is the most intensive, largest geographic scale, long-term bat study going on anywhere of tagged bats. For an animal that lives that long,
Yeah.
you kind of got to follow them for a long time to kind of to figure
Definitely.
out.
What's going on?
Yeah, so besides movements and site use, roost use, we'll find out about survival rates of males and females, different strategies where they breed in winter. So it's a lot of different kinds of data.
Having Mike up this month was awesome. I just think that anytime somebody's that's passionate about something, you just can't help but care more. And Mike did that for bats with me. They eat bugs, they eat mosquitoes, and everybody hates mosquitoes. They pollinate fruit. If you like tequila, they're the reason tequila exists. They pollinate the agave plant. They are even being used to study how infectious diseases spread.
White nose syndrome is a result of a fungus that was introduced around New York from overseas, from Europe, in about, I think it was 1997, although I'm not sure the exact year. And what it does, it gets on their nose and wings and things, and causes skin irritation.
Okay.
And so in the winter, you see this white powdery stuff. So it doesn't get into their lungs or anything. What it does, for hibernating bats, it irritates them so they can't sleep. And if you can't sleep, means you're going to use your energy, which means you starve to death.
Right.
So white nose syndrome kills bats by having them starve to death.
In the end, we had seen 45 bats, and Mike was able to identify 4 of them as tagged.
4 of them we couldn't reach with the pole to check, and 4 of them were tagged. For this far south in the studies, it was about what I expected, 10%. And so tonight I'll look and see where they were tagged, so probably one of the maternity colonies. So,
Very cool.
So we found very, very good.
Yeah. 3 of the bats had spent time in the Big Silver Mine, and the final one was tagged in the Snowflake Mine in 2020. Overall, I really enjoyed the time down in the mine with Mike, and it deepened my appreciation for the bats. I just think now when I'm in the mine, there's a little kinship with the bats, and that just makes it more interesting, more special, less of a mystery and more of just part of my life. And so if you're out there, give bats a chance. I'll link below to some more of Mike's research, but overall I just feel, a little bit more comfortable around the bats now that I'm down here and I've learned a little bit about them. This month also had a lot of mining, refining, and smelting silver. I need to make 10 ounces of pure silver. And it might not seem like a lot, but 10 ounces of silver is going to take a very long time. So the main thing they were mining here at Cerro Gordo was named galena. And galena is a lot of lead, some sulfur, a little bit of silver, some silica, some other trace minerals as well. And so the name of the game is to take the galena and get everything out but silver. Here at Cerro Gordo, the biggest deposit of that galena was directly behind me in the Union Mine. But luckily, galena isn't the only place to get the silver up here at Cerro Gordo. Due to a little wrinkle in chemistry and refining back in the day, there's a lot of silver left in the slag. And slag is basically the waste from a refining process. So I started thinking, where else can I pull from to maybe get some of the silver that I need for this 10 ounces? And a place that came to mind is a place called Lower Cerro Gordo. And Lower Cerro Gordo is an area of town where some of the original deposits of silver were found. And in the early literature, they said that some of the highest silver content were pulled from these early deposits. And so I'm thinking about it, it's very early in the process. The smelters aren't as refined as they were once Bellshot got up here. So maybe the slag down in Lower Cerro Gordo has a lot of silver in it that I can kind of recover, and that way save me a lot of trips down the mine. And so that I made a trip down to Lower Cerro Gordo to try to recover some silver out of the slag down there. All right, so this that you see behind me is one of the original vasos here at Cerro Gordo. So this is what the Mexican miners were set up to refine the silver way back in the day. This is about as old as it gets, probably pre-1865. So 1860s, they create these adobe vasos, take the galena, melt it down here, and refine their silver. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look on the ground for slag. And so as you can see over here, any of these glassy bits like this is the slag. This is the waste material that came off of the galena. And as refining got better, they got better at getting all of the silver actually out of it. So I'm gonna collect some of this original slag, some of the oldest stuff from one of the most rich silver strikes that's over here. And we're gonna re-refine it and see how much silver they left behind, which would be cool because then we'll hopefully end with a bead of silver from the original strike up here at Cerro Gordo. So I'm gonna collect a couple pounds of this, maybe 10, 15 pounds of slag from the area around. We're gonna go back up to my new shop, we're gonna refine it down, and we're gonna see how much silver they left behind. All right, back in the shop. This is the stuff from that original smelter. I'm gonna crush it up right now. Then we're gonna add the flux and everything, bring it over and get it smelting. Let's see how much silver these people left behind. All right, so we got all that old slag down to a little bit smaller bits. We're gonna add in some soda ash, and then we're gonna add in some iron into this crucible. We're gonna heat it back up like they did when they originally made this. We're gonna try to see if there's any lead and silver left in this bit. And this is the stuff from Lower Cerro Gordo. We got about 22.5 pounds that we're starting with. So at the end, we'll see how much silver's left in that. So the first batch, and this is the slag from the original adobe vasos, is ready to pour. So we're gonna pour it up and see if there's any silver left in that. At this point, the slag should have cooled. You can see it bubbling on top, and all of the heavy metals would have gone to the bottom of this cone. The idea is that those will sink, this will stay on top. So hopefully, we're gonna flip this over, break off all this slag. That's what they did originally. And at the very bottom, we're gonna be left with a cone of heavy metals, kind of like this. This is from our previous attempt, but that's the idea now. We're gonna flip that over, break it, and see if there's any lead or silver left in this slag from back in the day. From the first one, this is all lead and silver. You can see that instead of shattering like the slag does, this is kind of is malleable like lead and silver. So this is lead and silver left. This is the double slag, and it's much lighter now. You know, we did a much better job of getting everything else out. And so now we're gonna weigh this, see how much lead and silver it is, then take it all the way down to silver and see how much silver they had left behind. All right, so after all of that playing around with the slag from Lower Cerro Gordo, how much silver did I get out of the slag, and how does that compare to what I need to get? So we started with 22 pounds of slag, which is about 10,000 grams. We're gonna go to grams. I ended up with 11 grams of pure silver from that 10,000 grams. I need 10 ounces of silver, so about 280 grams. So I need about 25 times more slag than I had. So I need about 650 pounds of this slag, this waste material, to get my 10 ounces of pure silver. And so when I use galena up here, it's a lot less. If I take straight galena, it's probably about 300 pounds that I would need to make 10 ounces of silver. So it's almost twice as much slag that's needed. But the slag is just laying on the surface. I don't have to go down an elevator. I don't have to go 400 feet underground, go through all these little snake holes to get it. So I think as I kind of keep chipping away, I'm gonna use the slag and the galena interchangeably, use as much of this as I can, go down to the mine when I can, because in the end I need 10 ounces. And I hope you guys stick around for a future episode, because I'm making something very, very cool with that 10 ounces. But this month is a fun experiment. I always like trying to think about how much silver was left behind by the original bullion kings up here. And now we know a decent amount of silver is still just lying on the ground up here. When you look around me, what do you see? You see a lot of water. You know, this town hasn't had reliable running water ever. You know, even when it was a boom town in the 1860s, they were primarily bringing up the water by mules. There's a couple times when they tapped some springs not too far from here, but those would dry up within a couple years. They would always lead to lawsuits, like Mark Twain says, whiskey's for drinking and water is for fighting over. And so right now, all the water comes up in a military 5-ton truck and it gets put into these tanks you see behind me. But as this town continues to grow, it's gonna need a lot more water and a lot better way to get it up and down than just the old military truck. And so I've always been pretty hesitant about looking at the water up here as a solution. I'd heard rumors that it was illegal to collect any rainwater in California. That turns out to actually not be the case. Back, I think in 2012, they passed a law called the Rainwater Collection Act that allows it if you meet some certain standards. With that, I started thinking, how can we keep this water here? Well, at our first snow, look, all this, I need to add a gutter to catch some of this water. Look how much water is just draining down right now. But if we go underneath, all dry. Look at that, not a drop on the ground. But this could solve a lot of issues if we could gather all that. All right, although the sun is out, the snow is coming. And so prior to that, we're gonna do a little experiment. We're gonna put a gutter up, do a little trial run. If I put about 20 feet of gutter, how much water will that get the next time snow accumulates up there, melts down, and runs into the gutter? So I'm gonna cut up the sheet metal, put it up there, and we're gonna get some gutter system going. All right, now it's time to throw some more water in there. Make sure that's going the right way. This was pretty quick, so snow should come in about 2 or 3 days. And when that melts, we're gonna see how much water this square footage could get. And if that works, I mean, just look behind me. We have serious roofs that we cover. And if we gutter all this tank up here, if we fed it down in the main town, that would kind of allow the pressure to be built up too. So let's see how the little test goes. All right, gutter is done. Now we wait. Not aesthetically the best thing, but if this works, I think we can do some better options. First is just figuring out about how much water we're gonna get when that square footage of roof melts and drains off. This is 300 gallons. It's totally empty. So let's see how much water we can get out of that. Bring it on, snow. We're ready. All right, so here is the update. The goal to keep all this out of the snow. It's a little different now that this much snow is here. You look, this is probably 8-foot drift to the ground. I mean, I'm standing, I could walk onto the roof of our little overhang here now. Kept some stuff clean, but this is where we're at. Maybe we'll get a lot of snow out of this, but we got tons of snow up here and it's causing all sorts of issues. So the verdict's still out on the whole gutter situation and it's just an experiment. The second thing I've been looking into is something called a atmospheric water generator. So basically this is like a thing that pulls water from the air. Third, I've been looking into wells. As you guys, if you watch the channel, have seen, I've had a hydrogeologist up here. I've also had a water dowser up here, which was very mixed reviews, but exploring different options. And so a well is interesting, but the well, you could drill and end up with nothing. But I'm curious, if you're out there and you have experience with, rainwater collection, if you have experience with atmospheric water generators or wells, I'd love to hear from you. My email is Brent@Cerro Gordo Mines, but 2024, top of the list is water. And so as I look around right now, I can even hear it starting to melt. And that gets me a little almost anxious, knowing how much work we go through to get all this water up here. When I see this, I just want to capture it to save us some work. That's the big update on the water. Look out for a lot more of them this year. I'm very serious about this year. I think 2024 is the year that Cerro Gordo finally gets some water. All right guys, today more progress on the hotel. As you can see behind me, snow has begun and there is just raw sheeting on the roof right now, which is no good. And it turns out that the roof is going to be a little more complicated to construct than we originally thought. But in order to protect this thing through the winter, we're going to put something called a storm shield. So this is stuff that's made originally for hurricanes and protecting the things from that.
This is the strongest membrane that we've ever created.
Wow, it looks nice today. The temperature and the weather can change any day down here. So we're gonna go check in with Lorenzo, who's doing this, and we're gonna see what's going on.
Well, today we're gonna continue with the installation and we'll install the flat parts, which is the easiest ones to do. And then we're gonna give it a shot with the torch and make it all nice and tight. We'll take care of it.
Sweet, love it. And overall, I gotta say, I'm very proud of where this building is. On a typical timeline of a typical construction project, this has taken a very long time, but this is pretty far from a typical construction project. When you look up there, every single block, every single piece of wood, every single nail, everything had to come 8 miles up this dirt road, and that's not easy. We're already in the middle of nowhere, and the fact that all of that material had to come up this road is huge. I think the process of doing that just created so many memories. So many people have helped contribute to this hotel. It feels like there's already so much history baked into this building, and it's not even open yet. And so for 2024, my main goal is to get this building open, to have a grand opening party, to have all of you guys up. And I think it's really possible. The main thing to do right now is to work on the electrical and the plumbing through the winter so we can have a kind of a head start going into the spring. It's not done yet. We're gonna have to do a lot, but we're getting close to the fun phase. And the fun phase is gonna be when we can come in here, do the finish out, put down the nice hardwood floors, put in certain character pieces that make this feel like an old place. Put in the bar right here from a Brunswick bar from the 1800s, and kind of just decorate this with everything. But the one thing I am still on the hunt for as we move back outside is old wood. I have been on the hunt for that beautiful old wood, that's just the right shade of brown with golden hues on it to maybe facade some of this outside as we get to that point. And I'm not there yet. I have been on a journey that has taken me through California, Nevada. I took a road trip not too long ago where I was basically just driving down the street, trying to find anything that looked like it might work for our old wood. I knocked on doors, I went into gas stations asking. I just was hunting down wood, following up on every lead that I could get, and we didn't get it yet. I thought I got it in Tonopah, had a really good lead from the woman at the gas station that told me. So if you're out there and you have any idea where to get some really old, beautiful brown aged wood that might make this place blend in, let me know. I can travel, I can get a trailer, I can come take apart stuff. Send me any leads because I am on the hunt. And as we get the electrical and plumbing going, I'd love to get all the rest of the materials on site and ready to go for when the winter ends. So that way we can maybe hit a summertime open date. Again, that is goal number 1 for 2024, but that's the American Hotel, and that's where we're at the moment. The start of any new year is a reason to look back on previous ones. And when I look back on the last 4 years here, I see the most transformative 4 years of my adult life. I came up here looking for something, the same way miners were looking for something up here 150 years ago. They were looking for silver, but I think I was looking for purpose. And I found that here, which gives me a lot of hope that purpose is always out there, no matter where somebody is at life. We get to decide what's meaningful for us, what makes our hours and days, weeks and months feel important. And I decided pretty early on in my time here that rebuilding this old town is important. And my life changed after that. Others will look at this old town and can't see why it would be worth spending any time on. That's okay. It makes me happy. So I hope that everyone out there that's looking finds their purpose this year, decides their purpose this year. And for those who have it, stay on track. No matter how hard it gets, no matter how little sense it might make to anybody else, it makes sense to you. And you're the one that gets to choose. And don't let other people broadcast their negativity onto you, their unhappiness with their own life. Whenever you found something that others are looking for, there's going to be grumblings, but at least you're in the arena. As Roosevelt said, it's not the critic who counts, it's the person actually in the arena, the person that's out there trying and failing over and over, because there's no trying without failing, but at least you're striving towards something. So don't let the cynics get to you. To quote Roosevelt again, the poorest way to face life is to face life with a sneer. So I hope 2024 is full of lots of purpose and meaning for everyone. I just wanted to say thank you all so much for allowing me to find mine, and I hope that we all have an amazing year.